Shalom, more praises to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Yahweh Shah. This is Teller Nicholas with the Noble House of St. Nicholas, Vintage Saints of Israel and House of Jacob. Today I'm getting into the Hebrew Israelite Knight family, all the Negroes with the surname Knight in the Americas, Caribbean islands, and Europe, and all those scattered abroad with the surname Knight, all right? Before you guys were slaves here in the Americas and Europe, you guys was royalty in Europe, all right? You guys was royalty in England and Scotland. But before I get into that, I want to get into some scripture. I want to go to Matthews 11 and 25. And this is out the mouth of the Mashiach Yahweh Shah, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, all right? And it reads, I thank thee, O Lord, O Father of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and has revealed them unto babes, all right? So this information been out for years, but it been hid from the wise and prudent, but it was shewed to us babes. You know why? Because we living in the times where the Most High need us to gather ourselves together unto him. All right. Now, this is the Hebrew Israelite Knight family history before y'all went into slavery in the Americas and the Caribbean islands. All right. And it reads, this is all right, and this is y'all history from England and Scotland before y'all was here in the Americas and Caribbean islands. The ancient name of Knight finds its origins with the ancient Anglo-Saxons. And the Anglo-Saxons were first pagans who became Christians from the Romans and the missionaries of Ireland, all right? It comes from a name for a knight who was usually a feudal tenant, deriving its origins from the Old English word knight, which means knight. The word knight also means servant and common soldier. Knighthood was established as a military profession by the 10th century with the Norman conquest, and the Normans was the Negroes that brought Christianity into England, because when we were in England, we were pagans, all right? And the result changes in the social order. Knighthood became an established feudal rank directly under that of a baron, all right? And it was associated with the holding of land, but was not hereditary, because land was hereditary and knighthood was not. There grew up a body of landless knights who often banded together into military orders, such as the Knights and Templars and the Knight Hospitallers. As time went by, cavalry decreased in importance in warfare, and the access of Knights Templars brought the institution of knighthood into dispute. The Knight Templars were suppressed by Pope Clement V in 1312. By the 16th century, knighthood became a civil distinction. All right, now this is the early origins of the Knight family. All right, Salakia. The surname Knight was first found in Suffolk, where one of the first records of the name was John Lee Knight, who was listed in the Hundreds Du Rum rolls of 1273. The same rolls was also listed Gilbert Lee Knight in Cambridgeshire, Roger Lee Knight in Oxfordshire, and Ellis Lee Knight in Wiltshire. All right, so y'all hear these names, Knight family. These ain't names of Caucasians, because in 1273, the Caucasians that wear the surname Knight was in the outskirts of Europe as wildmen. And you could Google that information by going to Wild Man and Moors. It'll briefly touch upon it, all right? The surname was well distributed over England, south of Lyme, drawn from the Humbers to the D. In the northern part of England, it is singularly rare. Sussex stands foremost for the number of its knights, and after it comes in their order: Hants, Leicestershire, and Rutland, and Gloucestershire, and Norfolk. Salakia for me butchering these names, all right? In Suffolk, we have the form of knights, all right? The Yorkshire poll tax rolls of 1379 list Joan Knight, Williamus Knight, Thomas Knight, and Williamus Knight. Some of the family, and see, they always refer to the Knights as a family, all right? And some of the family were found in Scotland in early times. Robert Dictus Knight was Burgess of Aberbrothok and had a charter of peace of land in Aberbrothok in 1331. In 1435, John Knight was canon of Brescian and rector of Funwin, Finhaven. He is probably the John Knight who appeared on an inquest on the lands of Tulloch in 1438. All right. More recently, some of the family held estates in Aston sub Edge in Gloucestershire, Norton Burnt House, so called from the greater portion of its having been destroyed by fire, while the seat of Sir William's Knight, Bart, is the property of Earl Harrowby. All right, so these are names that you would want to Google, Knight family, all right, for edification purpose, all right. Another branch was found at Letwell in West Riding of Yorkshire. The family seat of the Knights here in the ancient house was taken down by the later Mr. Galley Knight when he removed his residence a few years since to the mansion at Firebeck. But the office with the gardens and pleasure grounds in the latter, of which is an extensive lake, are still remaining. To the far south in West Stoke, Clemsland, Cornwall, is early days. The Knight family had a family seat at Aldrin. All right, so Salakia for me butchering these names. If you want to go into the Knight history, the Knight coat of arm history, go to Google and Google Knight coat of arms house of names, and all the history will pop up. These names will pop up. You see these names, copy these names down and Google these names, Knight family, because y'all one family. Y'all over 100,000 strong in the Americas alone, not including Europe, not including Caribbean islands, and not including all those that scattered abroad with the surname that's a Negro. All right? So my best bet is y'all gather untogether unto the Christ, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and keep the commandments, all right? And get your blessing, all right? It's Teller Nicholas with the Noble House of St. Nicholas, Vintage Saints of Israel, and House of Jacob. Shalom.